Biafrans, do you know the reason why Nigerian government now are ready for negotiations? On the last video I published, the clip you're about to watch now is part of the things that is forcing them, because African Union, South Africa, who is the second largest practitioner of a democracy in Africa, which is South Africa, is now on the matter of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Biafra. In fact, they said they will never take it any longer, that Nigeria have disgraced Africa enough. After the Kenya rulings, all the whole Africans, including African Union, ECOWAS, are waiting for Nigeria to obey court rulings. Even in their own court in Nigeria, they have already said, allow this young man to go. But Nigeria said, Nehikaba. So now, South Africa have come out now and said it's either Nigeria do the needful, or they will be kicked out of African Union, they will be kicked out of ECOWAS, and they will also be kicked out from BRICS. All these things is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Listen to me, you dare not touch who God is blessed. You dare not touch who God is fighting for. Nnamdi Kanu is the game changer. And he made it clear. He said, I am going to end Nigeria. This is part of it. Let me not waste much of your time. I would like you to see that clip. After that, then we'll revise back here for more discussion. As you are watching, kindly drop your opinion at the comment section. Let's go there.
The African continent watched in silence as Nigeria held Nnamdi Kanu in indefinite detention, but that silence was broken the day South African President Cyril Ramaphosa stepped up and said, enough. A sharp, unfiltered message from Ramaphosa himself, demanding Nnamdi Kanu's immediate release, citing court rulings from both Kenya and Nigeria. The continued detention of Mr. Nnamdi Kanu violates the spirit of Pan-African justice. South Africa cannot stand idly while another African court ruling is trampled on by political interest. Kenya's High Court had already ruled Kanu was kidnapped, conditioned, detained illegally. But Abuja ignored it. Now, South Africa stepping in not just as a nation, but as Africa's second largest democracy. What future do we build if African rulings are ignored by African governments? Today it is Nnamdi Kanu, tomorrow it could be any one of us.
Of course.
Nigeria must act not for him, but for Africa. We can't afford a diplomatic war with Pretoria. But releasing Kanu will unleash political chaos at home. The choice was clear. But neither option was safe. South Africa's stance ignited global outrage. Diaspora groups rallied behind Ramaphosa, demanding Tinubu answer the call of justice. Kanu is not the crime, abduction is. Obey the law. Rumors spread of a quiet deal, one that could involve conditional release, strategic silence, or even a trade in diplomatic favor. Options are on the table: release Kanu and lose the political upper hand, or face full-blown continental isolation. As the sun will answer the call of justice. Kanu is not the crime, abduction is. Obey the law. Rumors spread of a quiet deal, one that could involve conditional release, strategic silence, or even a trade in diplomatic favors. But at what cost? As tensions rise, Tinubu convenes a late-night meeting. Options are on the table: release Kanu and lose the political upper hand, or face full-blown continental isolation. As the sun rose over Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu was already seated with his most trusted advisors. Ramaphosa's letter was no longer just paper, it was pressure. The first response wasn't diplomatic, it was legal. The Nigerian government, through its Justice Department, began crafting a position: Kanu's case is a domestic matter. Studio microphone narrator. Tinubu wasn't going to respond alone. Sources say calls were made across West Africa to leaders seen as neutral, asking for their patience or support. Within hours, the Nigerian media narrative shifted. Spokespersons emphasized national interest, the complexity of legal appeals, and subtly reminded the public of Nigeria's leadership in Africa. Despite diplomatic noise, the Department of State Services issued no statement. But insiders say the directive remained clear: maintain current detention protocols. African Union leadership received position papers from both sides. South Africa's argument cited judicial precedent. Nigeria's letter emphasized non-interference. The Union encourages dialogue, legal clarity, and adherence to established rulings from all member states. As heads of state debated legality, human rights groups reignited their message: the issue wasn't politics, it was due process. The question is simple: was Nnamdi Kanu given a fair trial? If not, why is he still in detention? Studio microphone narrator. Within Nigeria, not everyone agreed with the hard stance. Some lawmakers feared that international criticism could damage Nigeria's credibility at the next AU summit. We cannot be seen as ignoring rulings, especially when we expect others to respect ours. Days after the letter, Ramaphosa reportedly called President Tinubu directly. According to diplomatic aides, the tone was professional but firm. We respect South Africa's concern. But Nigeria answers to its own courts, not its neighbors. In just 2 weeks, African leaders will meet face to face. And Kanu's case, once confined to Nigerian courtrooms, now stands before an entire continent. The standoff has only just begun, and the pressure is building. For months, the case of Nnamdi Kanu remained Nigeria's business. But now, in the heart of Africa's political capital, it was placed on the table before the entire continent. It is not our place to judge individual nations, but it is our duty to uphold the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. That duty compels us to act. For the first time since Kanu's detention, the AU acknowledged it publicly. It wasn't a condemnation, but it was pressure. One by one, African leaders were called into quiet consultations. Ramaphosa reaffirmed his position. Kenya's legal delegation presented its court ruling. Nigeria held firm, but its circle was shrinking. The High Court in Nairobi ruled this rendition violated our law. If we expect global respect, Africa must begin by respecting its own rulings. Yes. EW had seen the documents laid out in such detail. Some delegates were reportedly stunned. We respect the rule of law, but we must also respect sovereign processes. Nnamdi Kanu faces legal proceedings at home in accordance with Nigerian law. It was calm. It was firm. But to some, it sounded defensive. Perhaps it is time for an AU-appointed human rights observer to visit Mr. Kanu and report independently. The suggestion changed the tone of the room. Now it wasn't just about law, it was about access, accountability, and optics. Behind the firm stance was a growing realization: Nigeria's approach would need to evolve, or it would be defined for them. We do not seek to undermine Nigeria. But if rulings are ignored, we all risk instability. Let us find a path that respects justice and face no winners or losers. His tone had shifted. It wasn't confrontation now, it was leadership. The African Union proposed a resolution, an advisory review panel to evaluate the detention and recommendations for all sides. It wasn't binding, but it was historic. Where rulings have been issued, member states are encouraged to engage in good faith legal review and provide access to neutral monitors to assess compliance. The spotlight was now fixed, not just on a government, but on its choices, its image, and its commitment to the principles it helped write. Africa was no longer silent. But would Nigeria listen or dig deeper into isolation? As pressure mounted from the African Union, Nigeria's national security architecture began preparing for a scenario they once deemed impossible: Nnamdi Kanu walks free. At the core of the dilemma was a question: if the courts had spoken, both in Kenya and Nigeria, what legal framework justified continued detention? We need a position that acknowledges international concerns, but reaffirms sovereignty. We may propose a conditional review. Tinubu's advisors mapped out how different political blocs might respond. Would releasing Kanu spark support or criticism? Could it strengthen the opposition? If we time it near the next appeal ruling, we control the narrative. But if it looks like we bow to outside pressure, we lose public trust. In times of uncertainty, the Nigerian government often turns to the moral compass of the people, faith leaders, monarchs, and community elders. Peace must be preserved, but justice must not be politicized. Using internal polling and simulation models, government consultants played out how Nigerians would respond from celebration to confusion. Over 60% say if Kanu is freed after this long, they'll believe something was being hidden. We must manage perception. Though quiet publicly, the Nigerian armed forces also weighed in. The priority wasn't legal, it was national stability. After the AU's public remarks, other international observers took note. Diplomats began asking quiet but serious questions. Has the detention passed due process, or has it become indefinite without new charges? What's the timeline? In the final analysis, 3 options remain on the table. Maintain detention, delay further, citing national security. Conditional release, offer monitored freedom under court supervision. Full release, legal explanation, tied to Nigerian court judgment and call for reconciliation. This should not have taken international intervention. If a court ruled, the government should have followed. It's time to rebuild public trust. Opposition voices grew louder, not just on Kanu, but on the larger idea of constitutional consistency. As options narrowed, a new whisper emerged, a potential compromise, a conditional release reviewed by Nigerian courts under AU supervision. No victor, no defeat, just a way out. We are open to dialogue, but Nigeria will never be dictated to. Far from the courtrooms of Nigeria or the corridors of the African Union, one voice has continued to start tension from abroad: Simon Ekpa. Activist, commentator, and to many, a polarizing figure. Nnamdi Kanu is not the issue. The real problem is Nigeria refusing to recognize what the people have demanded. While diplomatic negotiations intensified, Ekpo led a growing digital campaign that positioned itself apart from the legal battle and even from Kanu's direct directives. Simon Ekpa's messaging appeals to anger, not strategy. And in doing so, he creates a new challenge, one that no government, or even Kanu himself, may fully control. Observers note that Ekpa's movement, often more hardline in tone, doesn't always align with Kanu's legal counsel or even the family's public statements. We urge restraint and unity. The legal process must be respected. No external actors speak for our client. Back in Abuja, Ekpo's digital broadcasts were closely monitored. Officials feared they could confuse the public and be misinterpreted as directives from Kanu himself. The problem is misattribution. People think Kanu is still directing actions. That muddies negotiations. Even in the diaspora, the movement had fractured. Some backed Kanu's legal path. Others viewed Ekpa's calls for action as the true representation of the struggle. We want peace, but peace must come with truth. If Kanu is silenced, who will speak? Finnish authorities, pressed by Nigerian diplomatic channels, issued careful statements. They reminded the world that freedom of expression is protected, but it doesn't shield incitement. We continue to monitor reports of activity linked to Mr. Ekpa. We urge all voices to act within the bounds of law. We are mediating a case based on rulings. But we must acknowledge how non-state actors, including foreign nationals, are complicating the dialogue. For the African Union, Ekpa was never the main subject. But his growing voice risked disrupting the fragile consensus forming around Kanu's legal case. We are grateful for the growing concern across Africa. But let it be clear, only Nnamdi Kanu speaks for himself, and he has not endorsed any actions taken in his name without consent. It was a message aimed not just at governments, but at those who claim to carry the torch. This fracture helps us. If we delay just enough, international observers may begin to question who's really speaking for whom. Within power circles, the splintering narrative was seen as leverage. The more divided the voices, the less unified the demand. The African Union, once confident of building consensus, now struggled. Internal documents reveal hesitation, fueled by unclear messaging and fears of triggering unintended consequences. Recommend postponement of observer deployment until primary representative of affected group is confirmed. The question is no longer just about justice, it's about clarity. And in the noise, even truth may be lost. As the Nigerian government stalls, the patience of South Africa runs thin. President Tobo Molango, no longer mincing words, moves toward a path no one expected, a demand for sanctions, and a historic continental showdown. Africa cannot afford to ignore the erosion of justice. If the rulings from Kenya and Nigeria's own courts are disregarded, we risk setting a dangerous precedent. South Africa will act. And we call on the African Union to do the same. In Abuja, the tone shifts. A senior official in Nigeria's foreign ministry is recorded in a closed-door meeting. But the world is listening and the pressure grows louder. Is South Africa overstepping its bounds or stepping up for human rights? This isn't interference. This is solidarity. It's diplomacy, yes, but it's also a warning. Nigeria is risking its regional alliances. African Union leaders convene. On the table, South Africa's proposal for diplomatic penalties if Nigeria fails to comply with the court rulings within 60 days. This cannot be ignored. The credibility of our continental courts is at stake. Yet at the DSS headquarters, where Nnamdi Kanu remains held, little has changed. His lawyers continue to press, but access is limited. The silence from Oso Rock is now a statement in itself. We have not been allowed to see him. The rulings are being ignored. We are considering international legal remedies. We are not just fighting for Kanu. We are fighting for African justice. Even the United States weighs in. A reporter questions the State Department about South Africa's threat of sanctions. Is the US concerned about escalating tensions between Nigeria and South Africa? We encourage all parties to uphold judicial independence and protect human rights. We are monitoring developments closely. If South Africa pushes for sanctions and AU compliance, Nigeria could face diplomatic isolation. That means trade, investment, travel, all at risk. The cost of ignoring court orders could be higher than the Nigerian government anticipated. This isn't just about one man. If we back down now, what happens when it's one of us next? You're asking us to confront Abuja directly. I'm asking you to defend African justice. No more silence. The world watches. Will Nigeria stand its ground or stand alone?
So, Biafrans, now we can comfortably say that South Africa is now with the Biafrans. Nigeria refuses to back down as Cyril Ramaphosa, the South African president, proposes to lift Kanu's detention. Now, I said it before that Nnamdi Kanu might be a Biafran, it might be an Igbo man. But Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is no more longer the property of the Igbos. Nnamdi Kanu now is a global citizen. Nnamdi Kanu now is making waves. Countries who don't know the president of the zoo, if you come as Nnamdi Kanu, they will tell him he is the Biafran agitator who have been imprisoned unjustly. Is God not awesome? God is awesome. When he made it clear, he said, I will destroy Nigeria not with bombs and bullets, but with facts and figures. Now, what is happening? Nigeria is going down every day. The other day, Tinubu was scrapped out of his ECOWAS chairmanship and gave it to another person. And they come to lie to us that his tenure have ended. ECOWAS tenure is always 2 years, not 1 year. If you don't know, go and know it. Go and go. His tenure is not yet completed. They do what they call vote of no confidence on him. But because ECOWAS is being sponsored majorly, 65% to 70% of their funding is from Nigeria. And it's from the oil at my backyard. So they wouldn't want to disgrace them based on they are the one that is funding them in every of their outings. And tomorrow they will come back and tell you Nigeria don't have money. Who told you? But they borrow to sponsor African Union meeting, ECOWAS meetings. So Tinubu failed in all ramifications. The reason why Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger exit from ECOWAS is because of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Let me remind us, in case you have forgotten, when that coup in Niger happened, when Tinubu was a kind of giving orders and restore a democratically elected president, or we are going to, they used Tinubu's poster to do cartoon on the street. Illegitimate president, rigger, a drug baron, a certificate forger in Niger Republic. That is what the inscription they used to blaster almost all the capital city of Niger. These guys were kind of, how can you be directing me to put on a democratically elected president whereby you that is talking this thing came to the presidency from the back door, and you are giving me orders to believe you or to follow you, which is not possible. So for that reason, they said we are exiting if this monkey or whatever they call him remains the ECOWAS president. They exited and formed their alliance of AES. So now Ramaphosa don't step into the matter of Nnamdi Kanu, including other African Union presidents who have not been bought over by Tinubu and APC and the Fulani cabals, to demand for immediate and unconditional release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And they have 60 good days to do that. Otherwise, Nigeria is not going to face sanction from ECOWAS or African Union. They also go to face sanction from BRICS, from United Nations, European Union entirely. In fact, anything that got to do with business deal in the area of whether oil and gas and other natural mineral resources, Nigeria will be sidelined. And when that happens, I can tell you for free of charge, with the level of poverty in Nigeria and the kind of money they have borrowed, they are owing, both internally and external debt, my brother, Venezuela will be better than Nigeria because everything is going to cripple. Let me also remind you about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's quotes. In 2020, June 17th precisely, he said, if you never get your Somalian visa, you better hurry up and do that, because when he is done with Nigeria, Somalia will be better than Nigeria. My brother, have it happened? It is happening today. People in Somalia, no matter how dirty and how poor they are, my brother, they are feeding 3 square meals a day. Go to the streets of Nigeria and ask people, my brother, if you manage to eat half square meal a day, thank your God. In fact, you are rich. In this present day Nigeria, if you manage as a family man, I'm not talking about single men. Single men can eat anywhere they are. As a family man, if you eat half square meal a day, just half. You know, before you usually say 101, or sometimes you eat 101, or sometimes you make it 001. But now, nothing like 1, nothing like 0. In fact, it is quarter 00000. That is the word of a prophet chosen by God Almighty to liberate his own people, not only his own people, but Africans in general. Because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's preaching is not only preaching to liberate Biafrans. Go back and watch his teachings. The reason why many African countries are wake up now to fight against him is that they have gone back now, begin to listen to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's audios, videos and everything, and found out that that guy is not working for Biafrans alone. Go back to his previous videos where Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said that when Biafra finally gain the territorial, take charge of their territories, both crude oil and gas will not be sold to African countries. It will be given to them free of charge, so that they can be able to grow and match up, so that every goods that is coming on from Biafra, because we all depends on entrepreneurship, businesses, so that they will be capable of buying our goods and services. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu made it categorically clear to tell you that Igbos does not depend on oil or gas. What we are asking is nothing too much. A playing ground for everybody to thrive. You go to our areas now, you find out small boys building things. You can imagine they never go to a technical school or whatever it's being called. Building aircrafts. There was a one I watched, it's a documentary the other day. The guy is from Abia State or whatever. He built aircraft and also built drone on his own self. From 4 years old, he uses carton to do all these things. When the people around him found out that this guy needed to be supported, my brother, they sweep into action. But now he's calling on well-meaning people. Let me say Nigeria, well-meaning people, because Nigeria does not sponsor. If Nigeria gets hold of that boy now, they will kill that dream. They will kill it. The same way they killed the dream of Ezekiel Izog, the first African man or the first Nigerian man to manufacture a car. Bring the project to Nigerian government, they killed it. When African countries then found out that this guy is going to go far, they invited him so that he will be manufacturing those things in their own land. At least it will provide work for the poor citizens or for the citizens. Let me put it that way. Do you know what happened? Nigeria connived and hired thieves to go to the farm where this guy have all these equipments. When he's ready to shift everything to African countries where he's been a kind of recognized, where he is being valued. Nigeria government, to kill that dream completely, they hired thieves. They went and stole most of the machines that cost billions, and that is how that dream dies down. What about the Imo State man who produced car in those days? Present the project to Nigerian government, they kill it completely. So this small boy now from I think the guy is 17 years old now. He built a drone that can travel 1,000 miles, and with cameras they can capture everything. I watched that video where he made that mistake. He's calling on, he said, well-meaning Nigerians. Nigerians will not support you. Nigerians himself will never support you. Just call well-meaning Biafrans who have the same ideology like you. They will give you free scholarship to go to school and study your aerodynamics and whatever you may call it. Calling on Nigerians or well-meaning Nigerians, my brother, you get it all wrong, because they are going to kill that dreams as long as you come from Igbo land. But if you come from Yoruba or Hausa, then they will sponsor you. So there's no point. I'm just using this medium to advise any Igbo man or any Igbo boy who really need help. My brother, when you're making your video, stop calling well-meaning Nigerians. They are not going to help you. Call your own people. I'm calling on well-meaning Igbos. If possible, mention their names. When they find this video, they must surely come for you, because they like to invest where they will have profit. Nobody want to invest. At the end of the day, the money you just gone like breeze. So Igbo business men and women, billionaires, will come for your head if you call them, if you recognize them. But calling women in Nigerians, Nigerian government, state government, my brother, you failed it. They will not come to help you. So the issue of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu now is now a global. In fact, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu now is even reigning more than what they call him, Ibrahim Traore or Muammar Gaddafi or Mugabe. All these ones are people who make meanings, who make strides, who their hunger is to better African soil, not to be a puppet to imperialists. That is what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu represents. And that is the kind of what I call it, the trajectory of the emergence of Traore. If Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is out today and he can be able to work with Ibrahim Traore, work with Ramaphosa. Ramaphosa is somehow a stooge, but let's work with Cho Ayoba of Ambazonia, and then Simon Ekpa, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. All these people gather together, my brother, and with David Monsanga, Africa will be a better place. All these old fools will run away from African soil and go back to their puppets, who keep on empowering them to impoverish in their own people. So if you get this message, you know what to do. I don't need to direct you. Make sure you share it. Otherwise, this message needs to be shared. This message needs to be shared. In fact, if you share it, you reshare it and reshare it and reshare it and reshare. Keep on sharing. What are you still waiting for? Do your own as I'm doing my own part. And the Biafran will surely remember you. And your children will never suffer like we suffered in the hands of the zoo. As you do that, may the Almighty God continue to bless us all, prosper us, and meet us at every point of our need. Okay, these are most of the comments. I'm going to read as many as I can, and then we'll round up. Omenka said Nigeria release Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. Okay, Chief Builder said good one from our South African president. Chieme Emmanuel Ebehiro said, Nikki, thank you for bringing this news to us. Daughters of the soil, may God continue protecting you over there and also bless you. I love you. You are a real daughter of Biafra. The spirit of Biafra is in your blood always. Oh, amen. Thank you for your understanding. As well, Joe Suji said, justice, and justice for Prophet Onyendu Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. No, my happiness now is Africans are waking up. If Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is coming out tomorrow, now Nnamdi Kanu have created awareness before the Africans. He made it clear. He said, I will leave DSS with Biafran flag on my hand, and it's going to happen soon. In the mighty name of Chukwu Okeabia Monye Premier. If you believe this, let me hear a louder amen at the comment section. Africans are waking up. Nigeria, the last we hear about Nigeria is now. The last we hear about Nigeria is now. Once Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is out from that dungeon, Nigeria will become a past tense. Go and verify. Darlington said, where is the link to the news? I want to see it and be sure. Okay. And the link. Otoga link, Abi. Chukuma Woye said, Nigeria government don't obey rules and regulations. They are civilians dictator. Chibuzo Aku said, they must release him because he is fighting for his people and for his rights. And it is right for self-determination to be out of Nigeria. So there's no anybody that's going to do anything about it. And according to Joshua Okoro, it is not the Nigerian government that is holding Kanu, it is the British. Nigerian Chief of Justice, Federal High Court, did not go to any vacation. Simple. The government are traveled to seek the opinion of British government because any decisions that was taken by Nigerian government without the British government might bring a consequences to the country. So they don't want to make a mistakes. Abi? It's all right, no problem. George Obute said Britain is the reason some African countries is not working today. Very useless and wicked set of people. Uchenna Wanga said all these Bini and their fathers never comment. No, they will not comment you. They will not. Chukwu Bike Muzoma said African nation must rise against injustice, more especially in Nigeria. And we have Peter Pius. Thanks you, my dear, for the news. God help me. Very soon I will be in an African Union meeting in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Then ask African leaders what are they discussing? What are they discussing every time they came for meetings? While Africa will still be going through all this mess that is happening in African soil. Eze Nwa Biafra said the Biafra nation is a must come. And they will have a local Nwa Bichiri. Wow, we the Biafrans, we thank you all the world that have even supported us in this Biafrans movement. That we are doing, we love you all and we stand by you people. Is God will protect you because we are Biafrans, nothing more than that. But tell Nigerian government that we move. All Biafrans, my people, he say and he say and he say. Okay, one last one. Chidek said justice for Biafra and the criminal and the crime. Nigeria is king and terrorizing the Biafrans, even holding our leader Mazen Nnamdi Kanu in DSS dungeon, whom they kidnapped and extraordinary rendition from Kenya, while collaborating with Finland to also arrest our exiled Prime Minister Samuel Ekpa Njoko in Finland today. He said it is only Russia that has shown concern to help Crimea fight against Ukraine oppression of all members of the United Nations. The UN are even against Russia for doing so. Help Biafra, help Crimea, help Cambodia. Hey, I can't go. Crimea, we will help Crimea. I don't know which Crimea again. Lamido Jalo said he was released before by George Binta Iyako then. Okay, Gabriel said, can the world leaders to a serious hot seat? Maybe, and maybe not. Anyway, what do I have to say? My people, now here we go take a break. More of these videos is coming your way. Just make sure you like, share, comment, and keep subscribing for more interesting videos coming your way. I, Okulola, will always be here to serve you anytime, any day. May my God bless you. In this new week, you shall prosper. I repeat, in this new week, as a Biafran, as an Igbo man, whether you believe in the Biafra ideology or not, I know that very soon you will come back to your senses. You must prosper as long as you are an Igbo man. My prayers goes with you. My prayers guide you. My prayers will always be with you at any point in time. Whether the devil like it or not, my brother, whatever you lay your hand, prosperity shall be the order of the day for you. Wherever you go, favor shall follow you. There's what they call unmerited favor. That is what you are going to attract anywhere you step your feet into. And as Almighty God liveth, so shall anyone that's going to help you will live. They will never die prematurely. And you too, hearing my voice, you will never die prematurely. And as you believe it, let me hear a louder amen at the comment section of this video. Kachineke meziogu. Ogadri woke madre wanyema. And now my people, please drop your opinion at the comment section of this video. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to like. If you never subscribe, do it to subscribe. Very soon, we are going to close the subscription. You are not going to see us again. All right, let's go there, my people. It is well.